We've really been talking about it for a year, and we really wanted to take advantage of the opportunity. One of the critical steps that happened was the arrival of Vice President Jeff Morris to campus as our Vice President for Communications and Marketing, and he really latched on to what we were trying to accomplish. And you know, we've been planning to announce it today on August 15th for a long time, and it coincides with a lot of other news in college athletics, but we felt it was important to forge ahead. Because it is symbolic. We're not stopping working because this thing's happening or that thing's happening. We're charging ahead.
Going along with that other news, I mean, it does seem like media issues are part of the realignment thing, part of what's driving that. Mm-hmm. How does this maybe position you guys to handle some of what's coming?
Well, I appreciate you asking the question in that way, Austin. I mean, this does a lot of things. I mean, when you got, as you guys know, when you have, you got content and you got production and you got distribution, and then somewhere down the way, maybe you make a little bit of money so you can enhance your university or your student athlete experience. And so we've got content at K-State. So the first thing to do is figure out how to produce it. And we're going to produce it in a highly professional, first class, high definition manner, and then distribution. And for us at K-State, we already have outstanding distribution of many of our sports via our Big 12 media relationships, and then our third tier relationship with Learfield Communications and Learfield Sports. But half of our friends and alumni of Kansas State University don't live in the state of Kansas. They're all over the country and all over the world. So how do we stay connected with them? When you think about our university as an international university, I believe last year we had 1,800 undergraduates, or excuse me, 1,800 students on campus at K-State from overseas, including 800 Chinese students alone. That long-term vision that President Schultz has for the university is going to include doing more to capitalize on K-State's status and expand K-State's status as an international university and an international brand.
What can you tell us about how much production costs might be and what you expect to get out of it in income type of way?
Well, we're very fortunate again because the university has really good assets in our ECC division and our journalism and mass communication schools. We already had a broadcast production truck that has been in use for many years to produce our Jumbotron shows at both our football and basketball games, and then as well to be used to help produce other events around campus, whether it's land-in lectures or what have you. The university also has a satellite uplink truck, and those are rare assets. Over the past year, we started working with the EEC and Jeff Morris to start systematically upgrading that equipment. That was already going on in a lot of ways on campus to HD capacity. You know, we really felt if we're going to launch this thing and differentiate ourselves at all, we had to do it in a modern technology. And we actually had some conversations. Well, we can do this now in standard definition, but you guys know, you know, the standard definition stuff is you're just old school if you're doing it that way, and we want to be modern and progressive and do it in HD, and we now have the ability to do all of our content in high definition. We are going to have the ability to do that ourselves for a cost far less than that, and then we can provide high quality professional content in high definition, and then at some point there may be somebody out there that takes an interest in adding, whether it's K-State volleyball or K-State baseball or K-State women's basketball or our other, you know, our world-class track and field student athletes to their channel or their inventory. So it gives us the ability, when we have, again, going back to content, production, distribution, take care of those things first, and then we believe the opportunity for dollars may exist down the road.
What kind of also participate in the internet-ready TV thing and that industry kind of growing too a lot more?
Absolutely, and you just look at the continual blur or the blurring of the line between traditional cable TV and internet TV, and that's how you guys know better than me about that. That's happened faster than people ever anticipated it would be. You know, you think back 30 years ago. This is 2010, and I remember in 1980 when the guy knocked on our door in Chapel Hill and to sell cable TV to my family. And my dad, we had this little black and white TV. That's all we had. We watched one show a week. That was a Dean Smith show. And my dad hated TV, but he bought this cable television from this guy going door to door. The only reason he did is because that guy was a student who happened to be in the same fraternity my dad had been when he was a kid. And so I think my dad bought Lifetime Basic 12 cable for $39.95, one-time payment for 12 channels in 1980. Okay, now fast forward to 2012, and I don't know what you guys are spending, but people are spending $150 to $250 a month on stuff that didn't exist 30 years ago when you get your bundling of your high definition television or your DVRs and all that kind of stuff. So it's certainly, the technology is going to advance fast, and if we're in position where we have our own content already and we can offer it at a lower cost without the hassle of having to send trucks out here or whatever, that may give us some opportunities down the road, and we're positioned to take advantage of those opportunities the best we can.
John, before that line completely blurs, is this going to be available to stream through other systems, Blu-ray players and stuff on television? Is that technology available?
Well, you're asking technological questions that I don't have the answers to. We're going to produce an HD signal and we're going to send it out. Our primary distribution vehicle for our stuff that's not on our Learfield network or not on the Big 12 channels is going to be broadband internet. I think we're one of the very first schools that CBS Online, our partner, our web service provider, is providing full HD delivery and streaming of content. Now, of course, with a computer, like any other computer application, it's all the end product, and the visibility of the end product and the clarity of the end product is dependent on the end user's system and hard drive and all this kind of nomenclature. But we're going to be out there in HD for people that want to see it in HD.
Now, what are the rules on the games you can show? I know we've made a lot about the one game in football. What are the rules in basketball, and is there a possibility for a second football game?
Well, we'll certainly explore any possibilities. This is a critical advantage of the Big 12's television agreements, in that we have control. This is an important question, Kanas. We have control. The institutions, the 10 institutions of the Big 12, have retained more control over content and more flexibility to use live content than most of the other intercollegiate athletic conference television contracts. For instance, in our new Fox agreement, which actually starts next year because we're still in the last year of our existing Fox agreement, but technically in the new agreement in baseball or volleyball, Fox has the ability to keep some of those programs and show, but the ones they don't show, we have the ability to show whenever we want. So if our television partners are showing a regional or a conference footprint or a national broadcast of a baseball game, for instance, we still have the ability, in a specific time window, we still have the ability to put our game on live at the same time. And if you look around some other conferences, all of which have good arrangements, but this is a unique feature of our conference's agreement, that we have individual flexibility to produce our own individual content so that our fans and the people at our footprint and our constituents have the ability to have access to it live.
How many men's basketball games could be available for this?
Well, it really depends. Most of our men's basketball games, almost all of them are televised under the conference arrangements, and then the next step in that is our Learfield third tier arrangements. So initially, in terms of live, the de facto state of affairs is that most of the live broadcasts right now will be our one football game, the Eastern Kentucky game, and then our volleyball, baseball, and whatever women's basketball games are not already being produced and shown by through our Learfield network or through the Big 12 contracts. So for us, versus some of the other conferences, our coaches have the ability to communicate to our recruits throughout the country and the world that their families can watch their games, almost all their home games, live in high definition over our distribution platform. And that is not a universal characteristic in intercollegiate athletics, because most of the places now, the rights are warehoused and controlled by a single conference entity or a single network associated with that conference. So it's a real opportunity and an advantage, and I got to admit, I didn't understand how that all worked, and still don't understand completely how it all works, but it is one of the advantages of the way the Big 12 and our institutions and our television committee has set up our parameters.
How profitable you think this will be for you?
Well, contrary to most media speculation, not everything we do is about money. And the first goal in this deal is exposure. Exposure for our university and exposure for our student athletes. And you all have heard me say pretty consistently over the last 2.5 years since I've been here that exposure is our first priority, because exposure for students, exposure for student athletes, exposure to increase the relevance and the delivery of value to our community and our state is our first driver here. So is, again, I go back to content, production, and distribution, and then down the road you get into monetization and figure out how you might generate a little bit of revenue to plow back into your programs and your existing expenses.
What other schools are you aware of that have used this? What kind of feedback did you get from them?
Well, everybody's got their own projects going, and certainly I think there's others that are working down this same direction. Some schools, like the University of Texas, have the numbers that exist that make a linear cable channel feasible. Others don't have those exact numbers, or that's not really their primary goal. I mean, for us, again, we have great coverage in the state of Kansas in our primary footprint, but our secondary footprint is the whole world, because only half of our people live here. So we're not going to, it's going to be a lot easier for us to reach the pockets of K-Staters that are around the country and the 5,000 K-State grads who live outside of the United States through a method like this, and by channeling our energy into this rather than trying to do a linear channel type deal.
And did CBS approach you guys, or was it an idea that you guys presented to CBS?
Well, CBS is already our online provider. They're our online digital provider, internet provider, and we went to CBS last summer to do our online KStateSports.com website. But there's a whole team of people inside our program, like Brian Smoller and Dave Smoller and Kenny Lanou and Casey Scott and Norm and everybody that have worked really hard to kind of put this thing together. It's been truly a collaborative effort, and then our guys on our EEC who are already the engineers and producers of our Jumbotron and our video and our coaches shows and all that kind of stuff. This KStateHD.TV, it does a lot of things, but one of the things it becomes is kind of a catch-all for all that stuff that we produce, that we pump out on the internet, our football game replays and such like that. You know, they may be on something else first, but then eventually they're on K-State HD, and then we got it all warehoused. And then I think another important attribute of it is supporting President Schultz's Vision 2025 initiatives to move K-State into the ranks of the top 50 public research universities, where we can kind of centralize in athletics, perhaps bring people to the door again, and then pull them into the campus when they see all the different things that K-State's doing in the video realm, be it extension services or lectures or online learning and all that kind of stuff.